questions.
that came
Okay,
from a
so
deputation.
Councillor McClelland is happy to move it, and Councillor Coker, as she throws me her name tag, is happy to second it.
So, staff, there were a series of questions raised from the deputation this morning. Yeah.
Righto. Welcome to the top table.
Morning, everyone.
Morning. Afternoon. Morning.
So, the Linwood bus stop improvements is part of the Transport Choices program, and today we're seeking approval for the first stage of the project that includes 14 locations. This project has been broken into 2 stages. This is the first part. The first 14 locations were selected as they are closest to the city, with the lowest car ownership and the greatest benefits for uptake. We've held back 10 upgrades in this stage due to consultation feedback, and will be considered in the future.
Kia ora koutou. We'll just do a quick summary of what we received from the community. So in total, we received 52 submissions and 4 comments from individuals and groups. There were obviously 2 consultations run for this project, a general consultation that lasted for a month as part of the Way Safer Streets CERF consultation, and a specific follow-up consultation for 3 weeks where residents and businesses were door-knocked with the plans that applied to them. The general Way Safer Streets consultation received 35 submissions, 51 upvotes, 2 downvotes, and 4 comments on the online map. The feedback included requests to upgrade Ferry Road, Tilford Street, and Linwood Ave bus infrastructure, to improve lighting and bus stops in the area, improve speed control measures, and fix roads in the area, among other requests. And I'd highly encourage you to read through those submissions because there's some real nuggets of gold. Regarding the specific address consultation, 244 properties were door-knocked and received the plans that were relevant to them. The online form received 18 submissions, and themes included concern about parking loss, graffiti, vandalism, impact on personal safety, littering, noise, and requests to have rubbish bins at specific locations. 4 of the submitters were positive about specific upgrades and 14 were against a specific upgrade. A number of changes have been made as a result of this consultation, including a seat instead of a shelter at 407 Chewham, shifting a proposed bus stop on St Asaph to allow for an approved property development, and due to feedback received, we are looking to reconsider relocating, upgrading, constructing, or removing 10 stops that were initially proposed as part of this phase 1. These will be revisited in the future, presumably after more consultation and a little bit more design work. And in terms of what's been left in the report for this decision, it's changes at 14 locations, including the installation of 11 shelters. There were no strong opposition to these plans, other than some concerns about parking loss.
Hi, I just wanted to address the concerns of the deputation of the bus stop on St Athers Street. So the existing bus stop has a bus box and it has 6 metres of lead-in, no stopping, and that is currently insufficient for a bus to be able to pull up close and parallel to a curve. So usually we have a 12 metres of no stopping before our bus box. And the second issue is that the bus stop is located where there's a power pole that's hard up against the curb. And so that means that when a bus swings into that bus stop, it's unable to pull up close and parallel to the curb because it's got to avoid that power pole. And so those 2 issues create some accessibility issues for people in wheelchairs using the ramp on and off the bus, and it also disrupts other road users as well. For cyclists and cars heading down that road if that bus isn't able to pull up properly to the bus stop. The shelter location has been chosen because of there's a fire door located along that property, and so we have to make sure that that shelter doesn't block any fire door access to that property. However, given these things, there has been a new issue with a proposed development along that street, and council staff do need to have a relook at that particular bus stop, and so we would like to just table that resolution 9 and make sure that we can just recheck that and bring a report to the council for the next meeting.
Okey-doke. Thank you very much. Councillor Harrison Hunt, please.
Kia ora. My first question is actually answered around what changes have been made as per the submissions, but the second one is around the conversion of one of the bus stops to a bench. Where does the money from that go if it gets reverted to just a bench instead of a protected?
Yeah, so this bus stop upgrade program is really a rolling program. We've got over 1,700 bus stops in Christchurch, and we've all got to bring them up to a level of standards to encourage our Christchurch residents to get the bus. So that money that was going to be spent on that shelter will just be put back into that program, and it'll be spent elsewhere on the bus network.
Okay, thanks.
Good question. Councillor Johansson, please.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. When I read through the submissions, a number of people question the patronage at these bus stops. And then when I see the submissions that people have made around wanting them in more high usage areas like Eastgate, like Ferry Road, what's our response to that? Do we have data that shows why these particular stops are the ones that are prioritised ahead of those other areas?
So this project is part of the CERF project, which concentrates infrastructure improvements in the east. We had to have a separate budget to address residents writing into council saying that they want a bus stop, and we look at those bus patronage numbers and we apply bus stop upgrades with high bus patronage numbers using that budget.
Right. So sorry, but what I'm trying to understand is obviously how do we select these bus stops if they have really low patronage when we've got other bus stops that have much higher patronage that aren't being done?
So we do look at bus stop spacings and the catchments and the bus routes that are going through there, and we acknowledge that bus patronage is low in that area, but to get more people getting on the bus, they need to feel safe, they need to have the shelters with the lighting, and they need to have a proper bus stop facility to encourage those people to get the bus. So this is a proactive program to increase bus patronage, and we've also got the other program which is more reactive.
I would also say that's well supported by the general submissions that we received as part of the Way Safer Streets program. People in the east saying that they wouldn't be willing to use the bus stops in their current condition. So,
and just a question for, I guess, for the I don't know if it's appropriate to ask the staff here, but given what we heard yesterday in the briefing, and I don't know if that's public, I'm sort of wondering why we're considering this today when we've got a number of things that we need to consider in regards to the CERF program. So I don't know.
So can you clarify, Jacob, that this is a signed agreement?
The development of the design is part of the Schedule 1 signed agreement for the pre-implementation. So what you will consider on the 15th of November is what makes up the implementation phase. And without the designs being approved, we won't have a design that we can take forward into that implementation stage. So, yeah, we've still got to do it at some point if we want to deliver these.
Sorry, so just to be really clear, so if we approve the design today, that doesn't commit the government to the funding. It puts it in front of the government in terms of the funding request, which we've been told is currently they've paused the funding. So that is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
The bus stops have been paused as well in terms of funding from central government.
Yes, because they make up part of that Transport Choices programme, yeah.
Cool. Right. Yep, good answer. Thank you. Okay, so one thing we have to do is that are the mover and seconder happy to take recommendation 9 out as you've moved and seconded?
question. You said you wanted to bring it to the next council meeting. Would it be easier on you guys if you just brought it back when you come back with all the other bus
Correct.
stops?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
when you mean.
That's correct.
Right, okay.
You're
yeah,
happy?
More than happy, yeah.
Yep, that's very good. Okay, Katie. Righto, with that, everyone's happy. Oh no, we've done questions, haven't done debate. Okay, fire away.
Couple of words and just say really pleased to see this. It's always great when we can improve PT infrastructure and someone else pays. You know, where we go on a lot about what ECAN can do to support the bus network. Actually, this is something we can do, and if it's free, even better.
Okay, any more, Councillor Johansson?
Well, unfortunately, this, I just think the timing of this report doesn't quite work. We've just heard yesterday that the CERF projects, we've got considerable financial pressures on them being delivered. We've got Waka Kotahi saying that they will not commit to the funding and that they're being paused. And even if they do go ahead, we've also been advised that there's a significant reduction in the funding. The problem I have with considering this in isolation of that change is, I guess, one of the points that the deputation made is, if we've got limited funding, is this the best use of the funding to address those outcomes? And when I look at some of the submissions that we've received, it seems very clear to me that there's other areas of greater priority in terms of patronage and usage that would be better to consider, especially if we're not considering them today, because we've heard that there's more work to be done. So I can't support this today. I think the process is just, and it's unfortunate, but we only just got the briefing yesterday that we need to consider this as a group in terms of what we choose to prioritise, because I don't think we're going to be able to do anywhere near the amount of CERF projects that government has funded us or agreed for us to consider funding.
Okay, Councillor Harrison-Hunt, please.
Thanks, team, for bringing that to us. It looks phenomenal. The report looks great, and I'm really looking forward to supporting this. The things I wanted to talk about is actually around speed, and we always get talked. They say council works so slow, they move so slow, and tabling this actually is hindering us from actually getting that done. I'm really looking forward to supporting this and actually letting the transport team do their mahi. They've already done the work, and in terms of strengthening the east, public transport access needs to be happening all the time, particularly around Linwood. We've got all of those suburbs, Chewham Street, we've got all of these areas that need walkable catchments to public transport. It's really, really, really simple. And to think that we can debate this to actually stop our people in the most lower decile communities having access to appropriate bus stops. Riccarton's got all the flash ones. We've got really, really good infrastructure in Riccarton. The east and Linwood and all of those places around Central do not. So I'm very, very keen to support this, and I'll just leave it at that. Kia ora.
Councillor Cotter.
Yeah, well, I'm not prepared to leave it at that. I'm actually really continually surprised at Councillor Johansson always trying to pause and stop these things. That I think we've got to understand the amount of work that has already gone into this work. If you were to stop it and look at reprioritising across the city, we're going to burn up that investment, cost the organisation money. If you want to go forward and prioritise, but don't do it at the expense of all this work that's already gone into place. And I'm fully supportive of this, particularly it must drive those people mad having a lamppost right where the bus pulls up. And we're there to support accessibility, not hinder them. So I'll be supporting this today and thank the staff for all the work they've done on it.
Councillor Templeton.
If there's one thing that we've learnt over recent years is that having plans in place helps us get funding from central government. If we always deferred doing planning and signing off on things just in case funding didn't eventuate, we would never get anything done. I'm really pleased to be able to support this today, and I'm really pleased to be able to see bus upgrades that extend the amount of space that a bus has. I know that our community board recently had a deputation from a young woman who is in a wheelchair and had come to the board to ask for some bus markings to stop cars parking in the bus stop area, because she had an incident getting several incidents getting on and off the bus where the bus hadn't been able to pull up parallel to the curb. The platform therefore wasn't completely level, and one of these incidents ended up with her wheelchair coming off the platform and her ending up in hospital. Making sure that our city is accessible for all of our residents. 13% of adults in the city don't have a driver's license and 7% of households don't have a car. Public transport is essential infrastructure. It's also much cheaper than owning and running a car these days. And making sure that that's accessible for everyone is really important. Continually delaying just because there's another priority that some people might like somewhere else will mean that we just grind to a halt as a city and we don't make any improvements.
Okay, with that, I will let Councillor McLeod talk a bit longer.
Hey, look, I share Councillor Cotter's concerns. I think it is really disappointing. We seem to be, as a council, heading down a path of actually, unless it's in my ward or unless it's perfect, then I won't vote for it, which I think is a shame. You know, this is critical public transport infrastructure in the east side of Christchurch. Just because it may not be in your part of the east side of Christchurch doesn't mean it's not worthy of supporting. Most of it's not. And I think we need to also be cognizant we invest in PT infrastructure, not just where we want to see where patronage is high, but also where we want to see patronage grow. So I think that's really a really valuable thing to do. So with
that, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you.
So an abstention. Thank you.